Digital Marketing Radio, episode 145. What's the difference between social media marketing for B2B and B2C?
DigitalMarketingRadio.com.
I'm David Bain, and this is Digital Marketing Radio, weekly interviews with online marketing gurus. Catch up with all the previous episodes at DigitalMarketingRadio.com.
The big interview with David Bain.
I'm joined today by an integrated marketing manager who started her career as a brand strategist. She's also adjunct professor at UMSL, where she teaches the social media marketing course. Welcome to DMR, Brianna Smith.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Well, you can find Brianna over at beingyourbrand.com. So, Brianna, are you talking about being your personal brand, being your business brand, or a bit of both?
A bit of both. So I'm very passionate about personal branding, but I mean, a brand is a brand, whether it's a company or a person. You know, you have to own it and you have to manage it. Very similarly in both ways.
And is that a relatively recent phenomenon? The kind of building your own personal brand, or is that something that really actually has been around for years and it's just like the online people learning about it a little bit more now?
I think it's been around, but it didn't really have a name. So now everyone's like all about personal branding, and especially because people are taking more control of their careers, since your online identity can make or break your career nowadays. So, you know, what you tweet and what you post, and definitely it could land you a job or lose you a job. So, you know, people really have to, you know, control it a lot more nowadays than ever before.
So how long have you been involved with social media marketing yourself then?
Probably 5-6 years. I've really been into it. I started when I was down in New Orleans, where I went to school, and then I lived for several years after. Is kind of where I started to really get interested in social media marketing and personal branding. And it actually came about by happenstance, because I decided I wanted to move home. I'm from St. Louis, and I was like, okay, well, I know I'm good at these things, but my current job is not really allowing me the opportunity to showcase that I know what I'm talking about with social media marketing, just from the projects I was working on. So I had to find a way to do that. And so I started blogging, which was being your brand. And I started building my social media following and trying, you know, sharing content on a regular basis. And, you know, over a year, I grew my following to over 10,000 and created a popular blog. And that was, you know, starting to build my personal brand so that I didn't actually have to really interview for jobs when I moved home, because my blog did all that for me.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So in terms of the way that social media is done by businesses, what is the biggest change that you've seen over the last 5 or 6 years since you've been in the business?
I think it's really changed the game from a push marketing to a pull or more of an inbound method, and social media is such a critical component to that. It builds that relationship at the top of the funnel that, you know, people want to have these relationships with brands now. It's very important to them. And the best way to do that is through social media, because it doesn't just feel like this, you know, abstract brand out there, and I can't talk to Coca-Cola. Oh, I could tweet to them.
But do you think the way that social media is done has changed significantly over the last few years? I mean, did people perhaps mistakenly broadcast too much a few years ago now, and now it's more about interaction?
I think they used it like any other advertising platform. So it was very, buy this, this is what I'm selling. But now it's more of a conversation, and it's more about educating, using social media as a educational tool for your customers.
Right. Okay. So an education about the industry and just content in general in relation to what you do, not actually about your products, but about the industry.
Yeah.
Would that be correct?
It's kind of like an indirect selling, you know, or smarketing, as HubSpot likes to say. But, you know, so a smart type of marketing that you're using for sales. So you're educating them, you're staying in front of them, becoming a resource to these customers, so that when they are ready to buy, you're their go-to brand. There's
Got
no
you.
question.
So you a HubSpot fan then?
Huge HubSpot fan.
Yeah. I think I've seen your inbound certified logo
Yes,
somewhere.
I
Yeah.
cannot get enough of the HubSpot blog and their product, and I should probably be paid.
I did that a couple of years ago as well, and I thought it was okay, but there was a few questions as part of the certification that I knew what they were looking for, but I didn't particularly agree with the answer, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the certification, it's a good thing to have. And I think anyone who's looking to get into digital marketing should do their inbound marketing certification, their Hootsuite certification. You just kind of start adding things to your resume. But
Yeah.
I'm more just in love with their product as a tool. The last two companies I've worked with have had the enterprise level, and it's phenomenal the amount of data that you have in there. And you can, with the lead nurturing and the email marketing and the smart calls to actions, I completely nerd out on it all day long.
I mean, one thing I really want to get kind of your feedback on today is how you perceive social media marketing to be different B2B compared with B2C. I mean, do you think it has to be a completely different approach for two of those different scenarios?
So there's a lot of things that are similar when it comes to, the 80-20 rule of only, sharing 80% of your content should be curated or educational versus 20% is more about your brand. But the B2B sales process or sales cycle is so long compared to a B2C sales cycle could be instantaneous. So just the type of content that you share can be very different. For the company I work at right now, we share a lot of ebooks, a lot of white papers, webinars, because our sales cycle can be anywhere from 6, 12, 18 months long. So I need to stay in front of them and stay a resource and expert for a longer period of time. Versus B2C, I can kind of get straight to the point.
Okay, and in terms of measuring success as a B2B doing social media marketing, is the only real way that you can measure that then through getting the person to actually give their email address and then have further communication with them, or at least some of the touch point along the way by email and then perhaps back to social after that?
Yes. So, I mean, because it is so long and it takes a long time to prove ROI with B2B, it really is about the number of leads. And like I'm using, a tool like HubSpot, I then can nurture them throughout the process with emails that are targeted to what they downloaded, and trying to, move them down the funnel that way. But using social media to get them in the funnel in the first place is, it's actually a great tool for B2B.
Okay, and are you talking about any social network at all, or is it for B2B more likely to be something like a LinkedIn or perhaps a Twitter?
Definitely more LinkedIn and Twitter, but Facebook still does have a place. It's going to be a little bit more lighthearted content than compared to a LinkedIn, but I definitely think you still need a presence there. But I would definitely say Twitter and LinkedIn are the number 1 and number 2 for B2B.
But no Snapchat for B2B yet?
Not yet. I just don't see the point we're in 3D imaging for healthcare. That would be a little difficult to snap a picture of an MRI scan. But,
it seems to be taking over everything at the moment.
I know. And I do a lot of work, some small businesses here in St. Louis. And for example, one is a prom shop, and that's teenagers, so it's all Snapchat. So trying to get that and leverage it without the data just isn't quite there the way it is with the other platforms.
Okay.
So I'm still kind of waiting to see how that evolves, because if I can get a little more information that's easier, more accessible for like who's viewing what and when and how often, it'd be really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, especially when things disappear on you and you're not sure, whether putting a bit of content out there for 24 hours is actually going to be worthwhile or not.
Yeah, like I can't measure like, I got to click through my website and that got me so many leads. It's a bit harder to measure for us marketers that love data to prove what we're doing is working.
I mean, what about Instagram, for instance? Because I mean, Instagram's somewhere you can get loads of followers, and it looks like there's a lot of interaction going on there. But you know, unless you're into paid social media marketing, and apart from the link in your profile, it's quite difficult to measure the effectiveness of that. But is that something that you can try and do as well?
Yeah, so I definitely think Instagram is great for B2C. It's just very visual, and it's definitely a tool. While Twitter and LinkedIn and even Facebook are a little bit more of a lead generation platform, Instagram is definitely for building your brand and engaging with your followers. There are some great tools that will help you, you know, measure how many likes you have, and you know, that's all fantastic. And I always try to tag back and say, hey, don't forget to check out the link in my profile, and tag myself even in the post, so it's easier for them to go back and, you know, click the link. So there at least is a link, so there is some measurement. But there's something really nice about how different Instagram is, that there aren't links in posts. So as much as I dislike it, it is kind of a nice thing, because it's more of an organic, real conversation that I'm having with my followers.
Yeah, I mean, I've started an Instagram profile fairly recently, actually, for Digital Marketing Radio, and I'm surprised that I've only put up about 7 posts so far, and I've already got nearly 100 followers, just organically.
Yeah.
And but that seems quite fairly quick for that.
I've found the same thing, and I manage a couple brands on Instagram, including my own personal brand, but organic growth is fantastic. You know, if I can get 3 likes on a post on Facebook organically, that's fantastic. You know, that's awesome. Just because it's definitely pay to play there now. But on Instagram, I could get 50 likes in, you know, an hour, and several comments, and you know, so it's a very engaged audience on Instagram right now. I mean, obviously it moves around. Facebook was big, and then Twitter and Instagram, you know. So we'll see how it stays, if it'll stay that engaging, you know, in the next several years.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just to summarize, in terms of the type of content that is more likely to work best, if you're B2B, then you need to be focusing on kind of quality content, and perhaps funneling people towards giving that email address and actually building that relationship with that person over time.
Yep.
If it's B2C, then would it be fair to say that you're more able to actually have a direct call to action to make a purchase?
It is more acceptable in B2C, yes.
Okay. But still jab, jab, jab a bit before you right hook.
Yes, I mean, totally don't, you know, consumers nowadays, they don't want to be yelled at to buy a product. You know, you still want to provide information on, you know, whether it's the industry or, I guess if it's a pair of shoes or something, you know, how to take care of those shoes or what you would wear with those shoes. So just content that supplements your product. So then when they see oh, well, I know how to wear those shoes, and now I see a post to buy them, that makes sense. And it's not in a pushy way.
Okay, got you. And in terms of the way you set up your profile and your call to action, is that going to be significantly different depending on whether you're B2B or B2C, or does that not make a massive difference?
Yes, for your call to action, I mean, it's really going to say more of that top funnel for B2B, you know, that download ebook, register for webinar. But for B2C, you can definitely have the call to action of buy now, or, you know, on sale, check this out. That's definitely more acceptable versus, like, I wouldn't say, you know, in B2B, buy this now, this, you know, $5 million contract. So.
Yeah. And do you think it's acceptable, or is it possible for a marketer to do a great job at both B2C and B2B, or is it completely different mindsets and perhaps people should focus in one area or the other?
I think you can do both. I hope I do both, so I hope I'm successful at both. I like that it's different. It keeps things interesting. You know, so on some personal stuff, I do B2C and I help out some small businesses, versus, you know, during the day I'm doing B2B. So it's kind of a good outlet when I get to try different tactics and stay ahead of the, you know, on top of what's happening on both sides, because it's not fun when you kind of get pigeonholed into one area. I've personally never enjoyed that. So.
And do you see social media changing much over the next few years? Because I mean, we're seeing probably a lot of things like live broadcasting and more video now as well. Is that going to impact the way social is done, or do you think at the heart of it, it's still going to be conversations and people aren't going to change the way they talk? So social, kind of as it is at the moment, is going to be around for a while.
I think it will change it. Right now there is a lot of scheduling going on, pre-scheduling a lot of posts, and I won't lie, I do it too, efficiency. But, with all the live streaming with Facebook and Periscope, that is truly live. That you cannot schedule that. So it really will change the game and make, conversation and engagement even more real time than I think already is. So it's going to change marketers' jobs a lot.
And is this going to make it even more scary for bigger brands to be happy and give marketers the leverage to actually broadcast live reactively without having to get permission to do everything beforehand?
Definitely. And I work in a healthcare field, from my 9 to 5, and there's definitely, that's going to be a very difficult thing because it's so regulated in different industries like financial. But I think in companies in general, it's just hard to let go of your brand that much. But I think if you have the right policies and procedures in place and you build the right team, then it shouldn't be so scary. It should be exciting.
Okay, got you. So there's not going to be a place for businesses that refuse to embrace social media. You think those types of businesses are on the way out?
I do, because I think as much as maybe 5 years ago or even a couple of years ago, you would judge somebody saying, oh, if they don't have a website, they're not a real business. Well, now I'm like, if you don't have a Facebook page, are you real? Do you actually exist? And I think it's becoming more and more like that. People judge, consumers are judging businesses based off of their social media profiles. So if you don't have a good one or you haven't really invested in it, it kind of looks like to the consumer like you don't care. And that's very important to them. They'd rather go to a brand that has invested a lot into their community. Because it's, if I'm buying something, it's kind of like a commitment, and I'm kind of buying into this brand and this whole lifestyle. So people really think about that a lot now.
Okay, so I mean, what you're basically saying is that, people could make mistakes on behalf of your brand by doing things reactively, by doing things live. But if you don't have any kind of profile online, then customers are going to review you against other companies out there that do have a social presence. And if you don't take the risk, the chances are customers aren't going to be willing to even do business with you. So it's more of a risk not to have profiles than it is to actually do live broadcasting.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, I agree with you certainly as well, but it might take a few years maybe for some businesses to totally embrace that. But
it's not going to be instantaneous whatsoever.
Well, coming up, we're going to be learning about the one piece of software that Brianna couldn't live without. But first of all, do you want to start your own show? I'm in the process of pulling together all my podcasting and live broadcasting experience into one place and producing a course on how to start and master your very own show. Now, if that might interest you, I'd love your feedback. So just go to startyourownshow.com and take 2 minutes to fill out the survey there, helping me to decide if that's the kind of course that I should be producing. So just go to startyourownshow.com. But let's segue into the second section of our discussion. So that focuses more on Brianna's thoughts on where digital marketing's been and where it's heading. So starting off with
software I couldn't live without.
So Brianna, what software do you currently use in your business that if someone took away from you, it would significantly impact your marketing success?
That would be Canva. I use Canva all day, every day. It is for someone who's not a graphic designer, it is the most amazing tool. It has helped me so much, freed up my graphic designers to actually work on big, important projects. And I cannot get enough of it. It is just a fantastic tool. It can be used for any industry, and I recommend it constantly to everyone.
Great tip there. Well, here's a slightly more challenging question, and that is, what piece of software don't you use, but you've heard good things about, and you intend to try at some point in the near future?
So I was just talking to a marketer friend of mine, and she does a lot in influencer marketing, which I have not dove too much into yet, but I've heard of Clear Voice as a great tool to find kind of influencers to help grow your brand. So I know about it, but I have not checked it out yet. Sad to admit, but I'm going to.
Clear Voice. Okay. Is that clearvoice.com? Or
yes, I believe so. I think it's just clearvoice.com.
Okay,
but if you
great.
Google it, I think it'll come up.
I will Google it, and I'll include links to that and canva.com and the show notes at digitalmarketingradio.com when we publish the podcast. But let's move on to...
I wish I would have.
I'd like you to look back in the very first day that you're involved in trying to market a business online. What didn't you do so well? What do you wish that you would have done differently?
I think when I started digital marketing, everything was so separate, and that's what I did wrong. Was, it was like, you do social media, you do SEO, you do email marketing. Instead of really connecting them all together, everything was so separate. So I really wish I would have started from a little bit more of an integrated standpoint and seeing how it's all connected, and even how it's connected outside of marketing as well, and sales and customer care and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, integrated marketing is certainly one of the buzzwords at the moment. Yep. Yeah, but it's difficult to become an expert at everything. You kind of have to know what you're an expert in and learn a little bit about everything else. But I also love your point about integrating with things like customer service, because you wouldn't traditionally think that is part of marketing, but any touch point with a customer, with a prospect, with someone who's bought someone is, potentially going to have a massive impact on what that customer or prospect says about you as well, which is the future of marketing, really.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think there is not an area of the business that marketing should not be a part of the conversation. And, leveraging, we have so many great tools in marketing now. All the other departments really should be trying, leveraging them. How can I help you? That's kind of where my role as an integrated marketing manager lies, is using these awesome tools that we have to help sell or help, connect with our customers through social media, things like that.
And if a customer service department isn't that comfortable with marketing and doesn't really understand to begin with, why what it does, is part of marketing as well, what's the best way to actually train them or tell them to change their mindset a little bit?
So I like to, use real life scenarios with them a lot. So, if I'm meeting with them and brainstorming, walking through, you got this question from a customer and they were upset about something that happened. What can we do? Can we make the website easier for them to find an answer to? So that you're not getting these calls all the time with these, frequently asked questions that really they should just be able to go on our website. How could, that's going to make your life easier, kind of taking it from that approach.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. I love going over frequently asked questions and actually taking them from things like Google Analytics and actually helping them make their job easier by actually getting customers to potentially answer their own questions before they even get to customer service as well. So
they, instead of having to answer the same question all day long, let's find a way to have our website or our marketing efforts just answer it for you.
That's a good way to appeal to them, absolutely.
Yeah.
The this or that round.
Okay, so this is the quick response round. 10 quick questions, just 2 rows here. You're only allowed to think, you're not allowed to think about the answer too much, and you're only allowed to say the word both on one occasion. So ready to go?
Okay. I guess so.
Email or Twitter?
Email.
Audio or video?
Video.
Affiliates or display advertising?
Affiliate.
Facebook or Google+?
Facebook.
Online press releases or one-on-one relations?
One-on-one relations.
paid search or SEO?
SEO.
Email contact form or telephone number?
Email contact form.
Website or app?
Website. Mobile website.
Social subscriber or email subscriber?
Email subscriber.
And local marketing or global marketing?
Local marketing.
There were a couple that were a bit of a struggle.
A little bit. Those are hard.
Paid search or SEO was quite a struggle. Do you do both or neither?
Well, after I said SEO, then I was like, I think both, actually. I think especially, I mean, it's just more pay to play nowadays, so while I'd love to be only organic SEO, I think it's a mix. So if I go back in time, I'd say both.
And when you talk about pay to play, are you talking mainly about Facebook there?
That, and I think it's kind of, search engine optimization, it's just kind of changed a little bit. You really do, in a lot of categories, still have to, pay a bit, because you can jump off, as soon as you jump off that first page, you got to start paying until you can get back up to that first page.
Well, as soon as that first page, Google are changing things so much at the moment. Now they've got 4 ads on top. So even if you're number 1 organically, the chances are the user has to scroll down before even finding that first organic result. So
it's definitely, and they're making them look more organic than ever before as well. Yeah. So I definitely think you kind of got to have a mix of it. But I'm a huge fan of Facebook advertising. So it's just so affordable. So in that aspect, I definitely think it should be a mix of organic.
So affordable at the moment, but
knock on wood.
That's what Google AdWords used to be maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Yes,
but
yes.
Things have changed a bit, and they all continue to change. But I guess progressive marketers will always find out, the new great opportunity. I mean, be it Instagram paid advertising or something else, it has the potential of driving a lot of traffic. But a lot of businesses aren't quick enough to split test new opportunities like that. And if you're not, then I guess you're going to keep on paying more per click if you're focusing on paid advertising.
Yeah, and the nice thing about a lot of these platforms is they don't require a huge investment to just try out and see how it works. You could do $10, $5 on Facebook or, on Instagram advertising and see how it performs. And it's not going to break the bank versus, Google AdWords. You really have to spend a bit more to get some really good data.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I thought you were going to be focusing more on organic social media management, but you've obviously tried a few areas of paid advertising as well, and integrated marketing. You're living up to your billing there. So
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to say no to anything. You can try it, see if it works. And there's so much data and targeting behind paid. It's kind of like, why would I not do it?
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps a combination between organic and paid is good. Chuck in the chat saying we've focused on content that appeals and enjoy 50 to 60% organic reach daily, but also placed ads that are also helpful.
Definitely.
I mean, some businesses find that even though they've got number 1 organic listing, they can bring in more traffic by paying for paid ads for the same term next to that ad as well. But that's something you really got to split test if you're going to be as efficient as possible, I guess, with your budgets.
Yeah, but I definitely think both. It's just paid is just supplementing the organic.
Yeah, absolutely.
The $10,000 question.
So if I was to give you $10,000 and you had to spend it over the next few days on a single thing to grow your business, what would you spend it on, and how would you measure success?
I would do it on content curation because the more amount of content, the more it's going to help your SEO, the more you can share on social, the more leads I can get. So as many content writers as I possibly can get to write content in a couple days, I would spend it on that.
Okay, I found it interesting that you used the phrase curation, because I mean that's normally associated with getting content from existing sources and maybe collating it in a manner that's unique and different for your audience. Are you talking about writing original content or getting content that has been published elsewhere, but just putting it together in a different way?
Probably actually both. So, when it comes to blogging and, creating ebooks, I tell people you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of this content is out there, but you're putting your point of view to it. So it would probably be a combination of both.
Okay. Yeah, that's intriguing, because there are a few massive websites now that are actually now accepting blog articles that you can publish on them, and they needn't be original content as well. It used to be a couple of years ago that these websites would insist on original content now, but now they seem to be quite happy as long as it's decent content. If it's been published elsewhere, it's not a major problem to them to have it published on their website as well. So intriguing that duplicate content's on its way back a little bit, not completely, but Google don't seem to be frowning quite as much on it as they used to.
Yeah, no, not as much. I think they can definitely tell now more, or the algorithm can, about what the actual original piece was. I know it doesn't hurt to publish, if you publish on your blog, to publish on LinkedIn, as well. That's not going to hurt you. A lot of people have tested that, and the original piece usually always ranks above the LinkedIn piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number one takeaway.
Brianna, you've offered a lot of great advice in our conversation, but what's the number one takeaway? What's the single most important step that our listeners need to take away and implement in their own businesses?
They need to take an inbound marketing approach to nurturing their customers, into evangelists. If they're B2C, they get down that funnel a lot faster. But if you're B2B, just nurturing those customers through the sales process and using your awesome marketing tools to help sales, push them further down the funnel.
Okay. So take your time. Make sure that you're measuring, I guess, the impact of each different movement that some people make along the path to eventual purchase. But if it's B2B, I suppose you can't expect to do everything virtually or by email. You do have to pick up the phone to them as well.
Eventually you do have to pick up the phone. Someone wants to hear a real person. But I mean, people, what they say, I think 80% of the sales cycle should be complete before you do pick up the phone. So, using those ebooks, those webinars, those white papers, those online demos to drive them all the way down the funnel, so that when they get to my sales team, they are pretty much ready to close. So my sales team does no more cold calling. Nobody answers the phone to a cold call. And if you do, you regret it the moment you answer your phone. So,
So do people still answer their emails to cold emails?
They do, but you have to go about it very smart. So again, offering them something educational, not being salesy, but just saying, hey, I'm a resource. Use me as just an educational tool, and maybe you'll need me one day, maybe you won't. But don't be yelling at them to buy now, because that does not work.
Great. Well, that takes us to the end of our discussion today. So thank you so much for your time and your advice. What's the best way for our audience to find out more about you and what you do?
I would follow me on Twitter. So it's at Brianna Smith, and the S is a 5. So, because surprisingly, Brianna Smith was taken. So.
Oh, that's shocking stuff. Yes,
I know, shocking.
It's not too difficult to remember. And again, I'll make sure that I link to your correct Twitter handle in the show notes there.
Thank you.
So, thanks to Brianna, and thanks to your listener too. If you enjoyed what Brianna shared today, here's how you can help. Go to your friend's iPhone, go to the podcast app, and search for Digital Marketing Radio. Click on the show and then hit the subscribe button and make them listen too. Finally, I'm also hosting another live show every Friday called This Week in Organic. So head over to thisweekinorganic.com to find out more about that. But that's all for now. Until we meet again, adios, and thanks again for joining me, Brianna. Great show.
Thank you.
And I'm